Camera's on. Let's get serious.
Y'all.
They're gonna think this is the inner city. Be quiet.
It's really noisy.
Real zeros of polynomials. Why would I have to say real?
Because you know they're not fake.
Or imaginary? Which is probably what we're going to be doing at some point in time. Because you guys know how to deal with imaginary numbers.
Get out of him. Get out of him.
Alright. Let's start with this. X squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. Factor that, please.
Which example is this?
It's not in the book. I just pulled it out of my head. Stop laughing.
Like if you answer something really funny and expect us not to laugh.
What is this?
X minus 3x plus 2.
Minus 30.
Okay. Why do we factor? Find zeros, which is where the line crosses the x-axis, right?
Yep.
So what are the zeros?
3 and -2.
What are 3 and 2 to 6? Factors. So when we find zeros, we use factors of c to get those zeros, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so what if I said, let me work this backwards. Alright, so if I gave you this as an example and I told you to factor, you'd get this. Okay, what are the factors here?
Yeah.
Well, 2 and 1 are factors of the combinations of 12 and 6. Notice you had to have factors of 6 over here in the first positions, and factors of 12 in the second and the last positions, right? So you had to use factors of both of these, C and A, to come up with your zeros. In the same way, you're going to have to do this with these huge polynomials. So this is example 16.
Excuse the interruption. This is Mr. Schmidt. We are missing an iPad, and if everybody could just check the back of their iPads real quick and look for the number on the back to be T0902119. And if that's,
Did you get that?
pick it up by accident,
Right.
that's fine. Just turn it in
T0902119.
the orchard or the office, and they'll get it to me, and I'll get it back to the student.
Oh.
We've had a large rash of people leaving iPads all over the place. Just a reminder that if you lose it and we can't find it, it's $500 charge for you. So please be careful.
I took
And the number again is 0902119. Okay, thank you.
I have 191.
You have a large rash?
But why do we have to pay?
Obviously, look at his face. Obviously.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, up to today, we were telling you what the possible zeros were, and you had to use long division and synthetic division to find out if it actually was a zero. Today, we're actually just giving you the polynomial. You have to tell me what the zeros are. So there's a way of doing that. So just like here, you have to use factors of C and A. We need factors of this C and this A, the leading coefficient here. Okay? They use different letters in your book. But what you do is you put the factors of 8. What are the factors of 8? Okay? You got to take each of these and put them over the factors of the leading coefficient here, which happens to just be 1. But if it was different than 1, and I'm going to show you another example here in a minute where you're going to have multiple things, you're going to have to come up with lots of different answers. So 1 over 1 is 1, and we want the positive and the negative of it. So there's two possibilities of the 0. 2 over 1 is 2. 4 over 1 is 4. And 8 over 1 is 8. So how many possible zeros are there?
8.
There's 8 possible zeros. And you gotta check it. Check them until you find one. It's gonna take a long time, isn't it? Well, I think that's really stupid. Because you can spend half a page or a full page trying to find your zeros. So you have the answers to your assignment. What I want you to do, you have to know how to do this because this is part of what your assignment is. And if you don't have your graphic calculator or you can't use something like that on the test, then you're going to have to do this. So this is how you find what possible zeros are, and then you got to use synthetic division to find out. So we're going to start with positive 1, and we're going to see if 1 is a 0 here. So how do I set up my synthetic division? Okay, everybody do that and tell me if positive 1 is a 0. And then I'll share with you what you're really learning tonight. Did we get it?
Let's go.
So what does that mean? In factored form, I have x minus 1, and what is this? One x squared. This leading one is always 1 less than that. So x squared minus 6x plus 8, and that is still equal to 0. We just changed the way this looked.
Where did you get x minus 1 from?
Right here. 1 is a 0, just like 3 is a 0 here, right? 3 is a 0, so it's written like this in the factored form. Okay? So if 1 is a 0, we write it like this. Because we want to know what makes this whole thing go to 0. If x is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 times this whole thing is 0. Right? This is factor.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the factor into?
X plus 4, x minus 2.
X minus 4, x minus 2. So what are my zeros? 1 what? Positive 1, positive 4, positive 2. Which are all possibilities up here? Okay? They don't all work. These are just your possibilities. So this is your answer for your factors. So what do we do different? Once you got down to finding a 0, okay, that works, you then have to factor that further. So this is the extra stuff you're doing tonight. Okay? What happens if it doesn't factor? What are you going to do? Cry? Quadratic equation? Quadratic formula? You're going to use the quadratic formula and finish it. Alright? Okay. Let's do another one. Example 18. So here is your polynomial, x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x minus 18. First of all, tell me all of the possible zeros there are. All of the factors of 18 over each of the factors of this leading coefficient, which is 1, so it ought to be pretty easy. What are the factors of 18? And these are all over 1, so at that point, we want a positive and negative for each one. How many possibilities are there?
12.
Yeah. 12 possible solutions. Now you're not going to probably have to ever do all of them. So you want to make sure you don't make any errors if you're trying this. Okay. The honors classes, they have to do this, and they're not told what they are. You have your answer book to tell you which one it is. So what I want you to do is look at your answer book, see which one of these is a 0, You have to show me that it is, you have to verify it, write it down, and then you have to finish it from here for tonight. Okay? So this is very important that you can do this for your quizzes and for your tests. Alright, so let's just try one, positive 1, to see if it works. So everybody put positive 1 in. Make sure that you have each position represented when you're doing these, because sometimes they leave one out. Okay? That's tomorrow's as well. Okay, did it work? It did?
No.
No, it didn't work. Alright. Now what? Yeah, you just have to keep going until you find one. Alright, so this one, let's try 2. Everybody put 2 in? I'll just write it up here. Easier. Really good work. No, you didn't. That's why it's important to make sure your calculations are correct. You're already wasting a lot of space trying to figure this out. I'm not going to have you do that. You are going to have to tell me the possible zeros though, at some point. Especially on tonight's homework, you have to tell me that. But I'm not going to make you go through all that stuff, so you have the answers. Make sure you check for the 0, find one of the zeros at work, plug it in for synthetic division, get it to here, and then finish it. So what do I have to do? X squared plus 6x plus 9. Does that factor?
Yeah.
Liam?
That was x plus 3 squared.
Yeah, x plus 3 squared. There's 2 of them. Multiplicity of 2. What's the zeros then? What are they?
2 and negative 3.
Okay, so there's only 2 here. There's supposed to be 3 zeros. What's the problem again?
Double.
The negative 3, there's 2 negative 3s. That means it has a multiplicity of 2. The 2 has a multiplicity of 1. We're going to be talking about that more often, but anytime it has an even multiplicity, it's not going through the x-axis. It's the vertex, the maximum or the minimum is on the x-axis. Okay? If it was an odd, like this is an odd, it's going to go through at that point. That's how you can tell sometimes if it's going up or below the line. The other way to tell is just plug in a value for x and see if it's positive or negative. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we graph. Okay, then the last thing I want to do is take a bigger problem and just have you tell me what all the possible zeros are. So this is number 76. We're going to finish this more tomorrow, but I want you to just start with telling me all the possible zeros. 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 8x plus 12. So I want to know all the possible zeros, and this will be it for today. Finding the real zeros of polynomials. Yeah. What are the factors of 12? And you're going to put those over each of the factors of 2, which is 1 and 2. So what we really have, you got to put each of these over 1, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 12. And then you're going to put each of them again over 2. Now if they're already listed over here, you don't have to list them again, such as 1 over 2 is not over here, right? 1/2 is not up there. So you have plus or minus 1/2. That'd be terrible to do
Why?
synthetic division with 1/2, right?
Why did you put it over 1 and 2?
Because these are the factors of 2,
Um,
okay? If it was factors of 6, you'd have 1, 2, 3, and 6, and you'd have a whole lot up here. Okay? So 1/2, 2/2 is 1, which you already have. Finish it. Keep going the rest of the way. Finish it.
Plus or minus 1/2.
What?
Where did you get the plus or minus 1/2?
Factor of C over factor of A. 1/2, 2/2, 3/2 is the next one. 4/2, 2, we already have it. 6/2,
3,
we already have it. 12/2,
6.
we already have it. That's your, those are your possible zeros. That's an awful lot to check. Right? Okay, so page 260 for tonight. This is all you're really having to do. 5 to 29 odds. Okay.